Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Post Movie Podcast. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
Oh, and welcome everybody to the apartment.
So
I would offer you some cranberry juice. I've got some egg salad in the fridge.
Yeah.
Some potato salad. I actually also have a combination egg salad and potato salad sandwich.
Yum.
It tastes good. It really
I
does.
bet.
I'm a man,
Good for
and
you.
I can admit that I enjoy cottage cheese and egg salad,
Together?
if necessary. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the new Blu-ray and DVD releases, and we have quite a pile of them here in the apartment. I feel like a very lucky guy.
Yes.
All these things to talk about, some really cool stuff coming out over the next couple of weeks. Some of them are already out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, of all the problems one can have in life, the problem of, like, what movie to watch is really down on the list.
I don't think people understand it. Sometimes, though, you look at a list. We've got, let's say there's 10 movies to review this week on DVD, and sometimes you get home at the end of the day, and the last thing you want to do is put in something you've got to pay attention to. That's
hard.
That's how I got hooked on all those Sonny Chiba movies. I just couldn't stand the idea of watching another artsy-fartsy.
But as a critic, we have to do it because let's face it, part of this is like there's a whole lot of stuff that comes out every week, in theaters and on DVD, and you have to, let people know what's out there, and not regarding my interests, you still have to, let people know what's out there, and in the same sense that there's a lot of filmmakers out there that need to publicize their stuff, and they don't know how to.
Right.
They may be good filmmakers, but they really don't know how to sell their stuff to get it to people the right way. And so admittedly, there's a saleability quality. There's a sales element just by letting people know what's out there. I have a love-hate relationship with that because I really just want to help sell the movies that I love, or help someone sell the movies that I love.
Right.
But the other part of me says that even though I don't really love a film, there's someone out there who might.
Uh-huh.
There's someone out there who would really enjoy it, and I have to sort of let go of a certain part of myself. I want to be genuine about when I'm talking about a movie, about whether or not I like it, but in saying this might be right for someone else. I don't know.
What was that movie about the girl who loses her arm to the shark, the surfer girl?
Yeah.
That
which I was thinking about when you were talking about in the last
One-armed
episode, the
surfer
dolphin
chick
that
movie.
lost its tail.
Yeah, same thing. That would be a great whole feature, Dolphin Tale and the surfer chick, one-armed surfer chick movie, which I can't remember the name of. But I remember seeing that, and Dan Kimmel and I at the end, we go, it's a good movie, but we're not the audience for it.
Right.
And I understand that completely. It's like, go, and then when I reviewed it, I made it clear that, this is well made, well acted, it's a good story.
Yeah.
But it's not for me.
There's only a certain percentage, and I would dare say a higher percentage of films that I feel I am the audience for, and then there's a lot of stuff that I want to help because I want to help the filmmakers. Mm-hmm. I want to help the publicists do their job. I want to get the movie to the person that would really enjoy it. So there's that part. But then the other part of me is like, it's hard to talk about a movie you don't like.
No, it's not. Oh, you mean positively?
Positively. Positively. I don't. I didn't have a lot of nice things to say about The Killer Elite, and I genuinely kind of didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
Right. But I felt like I was going to be overly negative, and I just didn't want to go there. But you do it. So for 10, 15 minutes, we dumped on the film.
Sure. Long, satisfying dump.
But I'm sure there's people out there who will love it.
No.
So there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out.
All right, like what?
Well,
give me a.
What do we got? So these are some titles that they're either already out or they're coming out October 4th next week. I think most of the things we're looking at are like October 4th, right?
Maybe.
You have a better knowledge of these dates than I do, I suppose. I don't know. I'm winging it here. But what I can say is these are on the new release on the new release list. Poltergeist 2. MGM has a bunch of one-shot
I just got
upgrades.
those today.
Poltergeist 2
Yeah.
from 86, believe it or not. Michael Mann's Manhunter,
Yeah,
also
which is
from
a great
86.
movie.
Very happy to announce that that's on DVD. Haven't watched it yet, though. Ridley Scott's take on...
Is that the one
Enter-
where Anthony Hopkins eats Ray Liotta's brains?
Was it Hannibal? I forget.
You know, like
I
Ray
think so.
Liotta's sitting at the table and he's at the top of his head's off, and
Oh, shit.
Hannibal
Oh, my
Lecter's
God, that is
slicing
frightening.
pieces of his brain and cooking them. Hilarious. I think that's the movie.
Was it? Or was it the Brett Ratner one?
Red Dragon?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whichever one it was, that's the one I want to see. So I hope that's the one we got.
You just creeped me out, John.
I know.
That
But
creeped
wasn't-
me out. And then I'm like thinking, like, damn, Ray Liotta did that?
I read that book, and when I got to that scene, I had to close it and walk away from the book. That was crazy cool. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins ate Ray Liotta's brain. Awesome.
Which perhaps can be seen in Hannibal.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
These Blu-rays, by the way, they're no frills. They're out there, but without any of the these
Bells
past couple
and
ones.
whistles.
Yeah, bells
That's
and whistles.
fine.
RoboCop 2 from
Yep.
1990, which I digged partially because I dig Nancy Allen. Although I don't think she looks her best in RoboCop and RoboCop 2. She looks very 80s-ish Nancy Allen. Nancy Allen at her best, her most like at a loss for
Spankable.
words.
Sure, most spankable.
Uh,
I mean,
Dress to Kill, which is also has just come out. I think it came out in the first week of September on Blu-ray
yep.
with extras, by the way. And then as far as films where she looks just incredible, 1941. I have not seen the movie Home Movies that I believe she did with De Palma before Dress to Kill. I don't think that's widely available. At least.
And in the same set that you were talking about of Blu-rays, didn't the Last House on the Left remake come out too?
Yes, and that does come with a lot of bells and whistles.
I did not like that movie.
No?
No.
That is my chair squeaking as I move up to the table.
I thought that movie was appalling when I saw it in cinema, so I can't wait to watch it again.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Last
it really
House
pissed
on the
me
Left,
off.
audio commentary from Wes Craven and Sean Cunningham. Uh,
I like the original. I remember seeing the original at the drive-in, but the remake to me was just appalling. So I will watch it again.
okay.
See if my opinion changes. I doubt it, though.
I will keep that in mind.
Yes.
And talking about, I'm hoping I'm getting this right, Sean Cunningham.
Richie's brother? No. No?
Well, he has. I don't want to say. I don't know what his actual participation was, but Friday the 13th has been released in a newly refurbished Ultimate Collection.
Mm-hmm.
8 of the films from the 1980s.
Is that all?
All in one set? Yeah, just that's what I thought. Why not more?
No, is that all there are? Are there only 8 Friday the 13th?
No,
movies?
there's like 12 or 13.
Yeah, so why only 8?
I don't know why the set
Freddy
stops at 8.
10's not there? The one where he's in outer space? That's one of my favorites.
You mean Jason?
Whatever. Yeah.
Jason, I think
Jason
this leaves off
Voorhees.
with Jason Goes to Manhattan, or Jason in Manhattan or something, but it comes with a collectible hockey mask.
Which Steve was wearing earlier.
It looks frightening. And an 8-page booklet with all kinds of facts. And I have to say, after watching a couple of the flicks, that you kind of...
Awesome.
Well, what's nice about it is they don't shy away from the fact, that, as Sean Cunningham says, it's totally a ripoff of Halloween. They just took what John Carpenter did and said, they got on the phone and said, we're going to do that. So they just put the pieces together and kicked off an incredibly successful film series and something that has provided Sean Cunningham a very comfortable life.
I bet. Now, is on the extras, do they have interviews with Betsy Palmer?
I don't recall the names exactly, but I can point
She
out
was the
that
mom.
my favorite is the fourth film. I think it was the fourth film. I'm looking at the list right here. The one with Crispin Glover and Corey Feldman. And it's the most self-effacing disc. It has the fan commentary.
Uh-huh.
And they just know that they just kind of, you really had this feeling that, that they were all in on the joke.
So,
That this was, go ahead. Sorry. It's the fourth film. The third one was Friday the 13th in 3D.
Which has the worst.
And they actually, this set comes, the Friday the 13th in 3D, you get the 3D version of the film with a couple of Friday the 13th collectible glasses in the box. So that's pretty sweet in a way.
Now, is all this stuff new, or is this just a repackaging of stuff that's been out there?
I wondered about that. Some of it is a repackaging, and I think some of it is new because the interviews are from 2010, 2009, 2008.
2007. Keep going.
Well, some of the, they go back to 2002, I think.
I just wonder what's the added value of buying this. If you're a fan, you may have them already. So what's the added value besides the cool hockey mask?
I don't know. I haven't owned the other ones before. But I can say that I was talking about it. Sarah and I have been watching the films. And it's like we actually look forward to it.
I bet.
It's a kick in the pants. It's just amusing.
I have no problem with Jason movies. Even the cheesier the better sometimes.
So this actually is like a whole lot of stuff to look forward to. I'm only up to the fourth film,
right?
And it's just, I think, it's just a kick in the pants, man.
But
even with all the commentary about, like, they're just not shying away from the fact that we're not pretending to be great filmmakers. No. In fact, there's only one shot, and all the extra stuff that I've been listening to and watching on the DVDs, there's only one shot that that the guys commenting on the film can actually say, wow, that was actually great filmmaking. And it's like the opening shot of Friday the 13th Part 4, where you've got like the spotlight coming from the helicopter, and then the camera goes down into the barn and zooms in and you see Jason's body. Other than that, it is what it is, slasher films.
Yeah. And nothing wrong with that.
And so it comes in with a collectible book. It's like a 10-page thing where all the DVDs slide in. You get all kinds of facts and stuff. And Jason's hockey mask.
It's the set.
I am not going to take a photo of myself with that hockey mask.
All right.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, just a bit. Well, I want to talk about a box set that we were just talking about how sometimes you just don't want to see movies, or they're the new release. These movies were in theaters 5 months ago. Why do we want to see them again? But every once in a while, something drops in my lap that just blows me away, and it's this Sophia Loren collection from Kino Lorber. And
is this apart from the Sophia Loren collection that you were talking about earlier this year?
I think it's
like
the
3
same.
films?
I think it's the same thing, but they've added another movie, which works for me. But it's just something I don't know that much about Sophia Loren besides when she gets out of the water in Boy and the Dolphin, which I suggest everyone see. It's kind of like Ursula Andress getting out of the water in Dr. No. It's one of those iconic images for male libidos. Anyway, there's 4 movies in this set. They all star Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni. Mm-hmm. But the one I want to talk about is this one called Marriage Italian Style. Have you ever seen this movie?
No.
It's beautiful, by the way. It's like makes Italy a place you want to go, and I've never really felt that way. But Sophia
you watched
Loren,
A Night to Remember. Didn't you want to go to Italy?
No.
An Affair to Remember. A Night to Remember.
God, no.
Wait, no, A Night to Remember. That was the Titanic thing. I think it was An Affair to Remember.
Yeah, that made me want to go on a cruise.
Right.
But Sophia Loren is this. They're in a small Italian village. She gets arrested for selling black market cigarettes. They sentence her to jail, but she can't go to jail because she's pregnant. So they postpone her sentence until she has the baby. When she finds out they can't send her to jail when she's pregnant, she's determined to stay pregnant all the time. So it's basically about this movie about how Marcello Mastroianni has to keep sleeping with Sophia Loren and keeping her pregnant.
She can't just wear a prosthetic?
I guess not, because she has to show a doctor's note that she's pregnant. And so a lot of the comedy comes from a totally exhausted Marcello Mastroianni going, the last thing I want to do is sleep with Sophia Loren, which is a weird idea. But it's hilarious, and she's so beautiful. She's just beautiful. And Blu-ray, gorgeous. So I would highly recommend that. And again, it's one of these series where The movies from, I don't know, 1970s, 60s? 60s. They're from the 60s.
Yeah, from the late 60s.
Foreign movies. I only started liking foreign movies 6 years ago.
What?
So, pretty much.
Okay, that would include Sophia Loren?
And now it does. No, back then, yeah, I was never a big fan of subtitled or artsy-fartsy stuff. So
Well, that's changed.
it's changing. It's changing.
Disney's got a couple new 3D Blu-ray releases. I'm actually quite amazed. The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast have been released with 3D Blu-ray discs, and I think the Lion King disc is a 5-disc set
Yeah.
with the 3D Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray, let me try that. And the Lion King is a 5-disc set with the 3D Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray, the Blu-ray extra features disc, the DVD, and then the digital download, something like that. And then sort of the same for Beauty and the Beast, except it's a 4-disc set. You get the 3D disc and all the other stuff. But I haven't seen it yet. I'm very much looking forward to checking it out. Of course, you've seen the films.
Well, The Lion King's in theaters now, as we speak.
Oh, yeah, that's
in
right. You saw
3D.
the press screening last week?
Yeah, and as much as I'm a huge fan of animation and Disney, I'm not a big fan of The Lion King. I just don't
Really?
like it that much. The songs drive me nuts, nuts. And I was angry because it seemed like they just put it back in theaters to promo the DVD release, the Blu-ray release. It's in theaters in 3D for a limited time, 2 weeks.
How
And
did it look?
number
How did it
one.
look in 3D? Did it look right?
No, it didn't need to be in 3D. It's not anything special about it. It's not like they added special things or stuff. It's got a little depth of field that's different, but there's nothing spectacular.
Well,
about
these I haven't seen the 3D Blu-rays yet, but
How does
I will
3D
get
work on
back on that.
TVs? Have you seen them on TV?
Yeah, you have to have your special set
Right.
of glasses.
But does it work well?
It does. I don't think it's the most social experience as much as watching
Right.
TV is a social experience, but it looks pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the 3D I've seen, on monitors. Of course, the quality of the TV is very important, but
Right,
it looks really amazing. Yeah. I watched Monsters and Aliens in 3D,
Cool.
and you can get 3D stuff available now on Comcast and stuff. So
Yeah, they've got 2 3D channels, but they seem to only show National Geographic specials about dinosaurs and college football games.
well, yeah, ESPN ought
Yeah,
to do really well.
yeah.
That's kind of stuff's made for it.
I
You know?
guess. I can't. I think it's lacking the social experience of sitting there with glasses on.
I
Over
agree
my
with
glasses.
you. I agree with you. When I get back after seeing these, I will relay my astonishment
Please do.
or not. But they are
Your
now
astonishment.
available. Actually, The Lion King is going to be available October 4th, and Beauty and the Beast is out right now. Quick announcements. Also, Transformers is out this week on Blu-ray. John, you look super excited about
I
that.
am. I'm going to watch it.
And Criterion has a couple of titles. Carlos, which I'm very much looking forward to seeing. That's on a 2-disc set from Criterion.
It's like
5
6 hours long, but
Yeah.
Sean Burns
Looks-
was telling me it's
it
the
looks
fastest 6
great.
hours in your life. It just
Well,
flies
I mean,
by.
I've seen some of it. Some of it, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but
I'm psyched for that one.
just so much about Criterion. The packaging, the presentation, incredible. Also, Claude Chabrol's Les Cousins, which is not a sequel to Le Beau Serge, but the movie that came out a couple months after Le Beau Serge, and it's one of his great films. And in a way, I liken it to La Dolce Vita, maybe like a French version of La Dolce Vita, where it's about sort of partying in Paris and that kind of nightlife kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Les Cousins now on Blu-ray from Criterion. John, what else you got?
Are you a Terry Pratchett fan at all?
No.
Do you ever read him?
No.
All right. He's I guess he's a science fiction fantasy author who's created this world, Discworld. He's got he's been doing it for 30 years.
All right, Discworld.
And there have been various attempts to make films and animated movies about this world. None of them have really succeeded.
This World or Discworld?
Discworld.
Okay.
None of them have been that successful until I just saw Going Postal from Acorn Media, and it is the best of the bunch. I think it would even stand. I've read the book, so I was thoroughly entertained, but I think it would stand pretty well on its own. It's set in the world where there's kind of like an internet to send mail, but it's all done with string, like string stretched across the country, and but it keeps breaking down.
Is this like a young adults thing?
No. I don't think so. No. But anyway, it's about the rebirth of the post office in this world.
Okay.
And great performances. David Suchet, who you might remember from Hercule Poirot Mysteries.
You got me.
Really good stuff. Just usually entertaining. And big budget. You could tell they put some money into this one, so I was impressed.
Huh. Cool.
So.
Cool. I'll check it out. Hey, so did you get a chance to see Jules Verne's Master of the World?
Bet I did.
Sarah and I watched it last night.
And was it awesome? In that bad movie kind of way?
It was awesome in that bad movie kind of way. And I imagine this came out in 1961, and I just liked the whole super ship aesthetic of it.
Mm-hmm.
Strange as it takes place, I guess, in like 1840s or 50s or something like that. But Vincent Price, who plays this captain of a giant airship that
called the Albatross.
The Albatross, which can circle the entire world in 10 days. And it's built at a time when just, the only things that were flying were balloons.
And birds, yeah.
So when these townies from Pennsylvania are shot down when they get close to the mountain where the albatross is hiding, they don't die in this 1,000-foot balloon crash. After getting hit, the balloon just takes a direct hit with a missile, but they don't die.
Yeah, it's a balloon with like a rowboat strapped to the bottom.
Right, and then one of the guys says, "Duck, hit the ground."
Yeah.
Anyway, they survive. One of them being Charles Bronson, and they're awakened on the Albatross, and so the movie is about them discovering the amazing things, all the things and stuff on the Albatross. One of them being the kitchen, where this crazy French cook is down there. It's like trying to, keep everything organized. It's like having a pool table on a boat.
Yep.
With all the but here with all the pots and pans.
And it's a joke they keep going back to all the time.
So this guy, Vincent Price, a.k.a. Master of the World, has decided that he's going to rid all the countries of their arms by destroying their battleships and all that stuff, one by one. Ironically, one of these people that accidentally land on his boat or taken in by his boat is like a billionaire arms manufacturer. Oh God! It's like watching an awkward stage play with some cool sets. And I particularly love the scene with Charles Bronson hanging on the rope, as punishment for trying to escape. And Bronson did actually turn the other guys in. They are set to hang by their chests from a rope dangling from the bottom of the Albatross as they're flying over the Irish landscape. So he's literally has to push the top of a mountain away with his foot.
Yeah, and the effects are so cheesy that you can tell they're in front of a green screen projecting this scenery behind him, but then the styrofoam mountain comes by so Charles can push off it and stuff. It's just hilariously, maybe in 1961 these effects looked great.
Yeah.
But
Vincent Price adds so much to the character. So it's quite amusing. Among the films that MGM has released on their movies on demand option, this one I went for right away.
Yeah.
First because Vincent Price and Charles Bronson, got to do that. But then Jules Verne, and it was a kick.
Oh yeah.
Sarah and I enjoyed it. I highly. You know what? I take that back. I don't highly recommend it. I kind of recommend it. You know what I mean? It's a kick.
Yeah.
But you gotta I think know what kind of films I'm into. So.
And I think we talked about how that we might not be the audience. I think kids would love this. Young boys would love this kind of adventure.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it is an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite the adventure.
New from MGM. Check it out. John.
Trigun.
You watched this.
I did.
This is new from Funimation on Blu-ray. Trigun Badlands. Full-length
Badlands
feature
Rumble.
film.
Now, there's...
Oh, that's right. Trigun Badlands Rumble.
There's Trilands was an anime series for like 26 episodes about...
As opposed to Trigun?
What did I say?
Trilands.
Trigun.
Trigun Badlands.
We can stop
Rumble.
and redo this. Trigun was an animated series of like 26 episodes a few years ago. This is the first new material in the series for like the last 10 years. And it's about this, I guess he's kind of a reluctant gunman, Vash the Stampede. He's got $100 billion double dollar price on his head. It's just, but the
So
story,
pretty much everybody in the world is after him.
yeah. This story is about when 20 years ago he stopped a bank robbery, because he's actually the good guy. He's not the bad guy the law thinks he is. He stopped a bank robbery and let the robber go. 20 years later, the robber's back, and he's gonna steal. He's gonna ride into town. It's a western, and you should know that. First of all, this is a big anime western. He's going to come to town and do something bad. Vash the Stampede and all the other. There's hundreds of bounty hunters waiting for him. And the thing I really like about this series is the character art. Each one of these bounty hunters, and there are hundreds of them, has a different look, a different personality. It's great artwork. It's silly fun, but there's a lot of good action. It really is. They take the idea that it's a western pretty seriously. They're big western shootouts. Big set pieces. I had a blast. It's a good follow-up. I like the series, too. I was a big fan of the series. So this is a good follow-up after 10 years.
I'm eager to see it. I haven't seen it.
It's, especially the artwork. It just looks amazing. So
Cool. I've got another one I'm digging. Paramount and PBS came out with Ken Burns and Lynn Novick's Prohibition. Now, I kind of got into this Prohibition documentary stuff because of Boardwalk Empire,
right,
and some of the mini documentaries that HBO had put up to sort of promote the film. But I haven't seen this whole thing. I've seen the first part. It's fascinating.
It starts on TV in a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah,
beginning of October.
Yeah, it just the whole like. The speakeasy stuff with all the hidden doors and all the hidden, it's fascinating. And it's fascinating that some of these places in Chicago and New York are still there. Mm-hmm. And some of the bars kind of sell the idea, that they were a speakeasy and everything. I did an episode of, I played a police officer. I played a police officer a number of times. I don't know what it is about me, but
yeah, you got that cop look about
you. And I might actually even be playing a police officer again in this movie that they're filming here in Boston, R.I.P.D. Rest in Police Department with Ryan Reynolds. They're looking for police, I guess. Anyway, so I played a officer. No, I think actually in this particular episode I just played a patron, and it was in the TV series The Untouchables, which was they filmed in Chicago from 92 to 94, and we filmed in a couple of locations that were actual speakeasies, these underground clubs with stages. And, from the outside, you wouldn't know that these places existed, but the fact that they were down there and not in use, but, like refurbished by the studio, by the production company, it was a real kick.
There's I saw a program about dining in New York a couple weeks ago, and 21, the restaurant 21.
Yes. Yeah.
They have that used to be a speakeasy.
And they have like a highly protected wine cellar or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that?
what the speakeasy is. Their wine cellar, and it's a private dining room now. But there's like a giant door. You have to know allegedly know the secret knock, and then it would open up, and there'd be the speakeasy behind because it was a restaurant out front.
And also, didn't they? If I'm recalling the documentary, they had like low ceilings and really thick walls.
I don't remember that part, but I'm looking forward to it. Now, is that your typical Ken Burns, where there's a lot of still photographs and actors reading parts over it? And
yeah, well, it's there.
It's Ken Burns.
That's sometimes I think that's perhaps one of the limitations. Well, there's different ways you can go about doing the documentary.
Right.
There's the who's the guy, the Errol Morris way.
Right.
There's the guy who made boxing and Ladons. I forget. Shit, you're not going to help me out there.
I don't know what you're talking about. There are times I will just stare and let you hang.
You know, I wish I could
honestly don't know
rattle
what you're
the
talking about.
directors' names off. God, Titicut Follies.
I just like saying that name.
Titicut Follies.
Say it again. Come on, say it
Weis-
again.
Frederick Weissman.
Titty cut.
Got it, man. You know, you got your directors have different styles of documentary. Ken
Right.
Burns has his, and
Well, I remember watching
it
the
serves
Civil
him
War
well.
when he did the Civil War, and I was just hooked. And then I watched Jazz, and
You had to have seen baseball.
no, what did we talk about before?
Loved
I don't
baseball.
like baseball.
Loved it.
So why would I sit, hours of Ken Burns talking about baseball? No, thank you.
I think your prejudicial hatred for baseball is getting in the way of the Ken Burns filmography.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. It worked for me in Jazz. It worked for me in the Civil War. I'm sure it'll work in the Prohibition one. But he's done some stuff that's like, there's a tree in the forest. 6 parts on Ken Burns, tree in the forest. And it's pictures of a tree while people read poetry. And it's just like, oh, this is awful.
He does American history
Yeah.
really well.
On that note.
And on that note, we move on to
Can I
Claude
start?
Chabrol.
Can I start? Oh, no, wait. You got Claude Chabrol. How can I say no?
Well, I just, in the past couple of days, watched Le Beau Serge from 1958. Very much enjoyed it. It's new on Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection. The more I learn about, like, French cinema, the more I just get, like, just awed by their love of film and the simplicity with which they've done this. I mean, this was such a low budget production, and it was Chabrol's first film, and it was financed with the help of his wife, who had received an inheritance, and he talked her into financing this film, which they filmed in a
What a good girl.
in a small town in France, and of course not as opposed to Italy or anywhere else,
Right.
but Chabrol. And it's livened by these characters that it's not an evil small town like the one in Straw Dogs. It's a very nice small town, although it does have its eccentric characters. And Gerald, God, I have such trouble with French names. Gerard Blaine. And Jean-Claude Braley star in it. They play Braley plays a local kid who spent a number of years in Paris and has come back to town to say hi to everybody. He's going door to door to say hi
Really?
to everyone.
Hi.
But it's
I'm back
an old
from
friend of
Paris.
his who he thought had a lot of potential has sort of gotten into the rut of being an alcoholic and a ne'er-do-well. Not a very nice guy. And it's about the interrelative issues that they have. The extra features on the Criterion disc there's a documentary where Braley and one of the film's leads visit the town. Many years later.
Right.
And I think the documentary was in 2003, and it's really nice. I highly recommend it. I'm as much as I've learned about Chabrol, there's always more, and I was I very much loved his film Cousin.
Was this the
which
guy
came out-
that they had the salute to at the Harvard Film Archives?
They did, yeah. They had an interesting story. Cousins, I think, came out the same year as Le Beau Serge, only a few months afterward. It's just that they didn't have the different the distribution money for Beautiful Serge. And
They sent me a bunch of his stuff. I got like screeners of a bunch of his stuff from the archives.
all right,
And I
what
liked it a
else
lot.
did you get?
Oh, what else did I get?
Something
well-
about a murder after a wedding.
No. It's one about Paris shop girls. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I don't have it before me, so Le Boucher.
Hmm.
Less Bitches was the one I saw.
Yeah. Thanks,
which
Jeff.
is just no. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad French coming out.
Chabrol is an adult filmmaker. He is not for everyone. He requires a certain sensibility.
So I should stay away.
No. This stuff just isn't going to play for everyone. And what's so interesting about his films is the production.
Moritz?
Yeah,
Is
the
that her
production design and value, which literally there is, can never be replicated in the sense that it's just, black and white, beautiful to watch.
Well, that's just
Highly
it.
recommended.
When I've always had kind of an aversion to French films, and I started watching movies like his from the 50s. The
John,
black
you've
and
been
white
turned.
French. Well, this is where our discussion is about to go. But is the woman you're thinking about Yvonne, played by Michelle Moritz?
I think so. Yes, she was in a couple of Chabrol's films,
Okay.
and she is just adorable. I mean, just adorable, beautiful, absolutely. She was in another film of note, and I can't recall, so I'm probably going to have to edit this out just to make sure that I sound smart.
All of a sudden, the voice comes in differently. And she was in another film, and here it is. All right, since we were talking about my improving taste in movies, and my friend Joanne made this comment the other day, that my taste in movies seems to have changed over the years. I've somehow either grown up or gotten better at my job or something. And here's a perfect example. This is my top recommendation for this week. Le Quattro Volte by Michelangelo Fromatino. Yeah, I butchered that. All right, let me tell you the plot of this movie. There's an old guy, a shepherd, in this little Italian village. He dies. His spirit goes into a goat that is just being born. I mean, you see this goat fall out of its mama goat's thing. So the man dies, his spirit goes into a goat. The goat grows up to be a teenage goat. He dies. The spirit goes into the ground and into a new tree. The tree is cut down to make coal, so the spirit goes into the coal, which is then sold in the village where the man's from. So it's this circle of life thing, the different stages of life, man, animal, plant, and mineral. And it's told with almost no dialogue. And I loved it. This is the kind of movie I would never, ever have even sat through.
I've seen the preview for that.
This is an amazing movie. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I hadn't read the back, if I had known this is what was going on, because there's no dialogue, and a lot of it, there's a whole section of this movie that's just you watching a goat kind of act, I guess. The goat gives a fantastic performance. But I really enjoyed this movie. It's so different. Thank you, Kino Lorber, for sending it to me. Highly recommend it. Le Quattro Volte by Michelangelo Fromatino. Whatever. That guy.
Go ahead.
Goat movies from 19 whatever.
Best of the goat movies.
Yes. Anyway, great movie. So I highly recommend it.
Bridesmaids.
Oh, can we ask
so
Dan
very
Kimmel
much
to come in?
enjoyed it. If you want.
Dan hated this movie.
I just thought it was hysterical.
Hilarious.
Showed it to Sarah last week. I think she really loved it. So this is the unrated version, I guess. But it's one of those films that you just kind of want, because it's a good comedy. It gets a lot of play.
Yeah.
At least in our apartment or back at the house, my mom's place. There's a great extra special feature, or special feature. Maybe it's extra special, I don't know, called Linorama, where it's just a collection of deleted scenes where the characters just riff on all the different, just all the different lines. Who's the actress who plays Kirsten Wiig's mom? Do you remember? Was it Cloris Leachman?
No, it was
somebody of note.
Oh, she just passed away.
Oh my God.
I'll go back to my phone because she was in An Unmarried Woman. She was in Silver Streak.
They just have her just going off on all these
Really?
riffs about sexual acts. So it's kind of like a riff compilation. It was very funny.
Well, it's got some of the most talented, funny people around.
Yes.
Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, the lady who plays the female Fight Club woman, whoever she is.
So this is new on DVD and Blu-ray, and definitely, I think, worth picking up. Haven't listened to the commentary yet, but it's Paul Feig, and he's an entertaining guy, funny guy in his own right. Written a couple of funny books that I've loved, especially Kick Me.
Commentaries. I can't stand them.
Well, you know, you learn things, John. You learn things from him.
Need to.
Malcolm McDowell would appreciate you listening to his commentary on If.
No, I don't need to learn things.
He's taking the time.
But doesn't it annoy you? Get annoyed by people talking at the movies,
yes,
but you don't get annoyed by people talking on the DVD.
It's a completely different situation.
No, not to me. It's just as annoying. It's just some.
Are you looking for a name? What's
yeah.
Yeah, sorry I brought that up. I
I
backed myself into a corner.
Like
why go out of one's way to remember these specific facts that sometimes you just can't? You know, it's like backing oneself into a corner. And I can't remember every person's name or movie and stuff like that. So, and then I can't think of the name, and then you just let me.
I'll let you hang in the breeze. I will just let you die. Joe Kleberg.
Yes.
The late great Joe Kleberg.
John, what else have you got over there?
Samurai Girls.
Really?
This is a new anime from Sentai Filmworks. It's a pretty funny comedy. It's about a young samurai who discovers he has the power that when he kisses a girl, she becomes a super samurai. Develops all sorts of weird powers and a bigger bust size and everything else.
Nice.
It's one of those. It's one of those animes that it's rated TV MA and for good reason.
Huh?
There's lots of cartoon boobs and sex jokes, lots of bad puns and stuff. But what I like, and the story's pretty good, but what I like about it is the artwork. It's almost watercolor. They use like watercolors to do a lot of the artwork. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's a lot of fun too. But
to me, one of the best things about anime is appreciating the art.
Yeah. Yes.
It really is. It's like watching candy.
That's what. That's why I was asking you if you had Netflix a minute ago, because they have this thing I watched last night. It was a special on Starz Network about Hollywood and anime.
Yeah, they do those things from time to time, and then they put them back up on demand, even though they're like 3 years old.
This was old because they were talking about the Wachowski brothers making Speed Racer and their love of anime, and Speed Racer hadn't come out yet, so it is old. But it has a good explanation of what makes anime influential. So anyway, Samurai Girls, it's a lot of fun. Not for the kids, but for us adults.
Cool.
It's good stuff. Next.
Man, I've got to recommend, believe it or not, Disney's
such a girl.
Prom.
It's not
new. It's new on It's new on blah blah blah. It's new on Blu-ray and DVD. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Really, I mean that's. I think that Amy Tiergarten, who plays the lead in the film, a high schooler, a senior who's entrusted with designing the prom. I like her a lot, and that's coming from my Friday Night Lights perspective. Mm-hmm. She is above being something that could be considered typically Disney. She has talent. She really does. She can make lines come alive. She's got that extra beyond Disney thing. So it's got the, I don't know, the
well, the thing is, it's a good teenage comedy, but it's got this Disney funk all over it. Like, oh, it's Disney making a prom movie. I don't want to see that. You have to get over that and realize it's a good movie, Disney or not.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing that I found interesting about the film is its portrayal of high school awkwardness. Mm-hmm. Good kids, good intentions. There's nothing nefarious going on here except for the fact that they, want to. They're all setting themselves up for some sort of disappointment because they all want to. Have a date for prom. But,
right.
you can go to prom without a date. It's just,
No, you can't.
And they set up the a number of instances in the film where the girls like to be asked to go to prom by doing it in a theatrical way.
Right.
And there's this one kid who, nice guy, just doesn't know how to really ask a girl how to go to prom and everything. Every time he tries to do something theatrical or special to get a girl to go with him to prom, it just implodes on him. But the main story here is with Amy Tiergarten and Thomas McDonnell, who's the typical bad boy character. And I think it's amusing in that for some reason, and it isn't investigated, the barn-like structure within which they were building all the props and party stuff for prom is burned down.
Mm-hmm.
Not arson or anything like that, I
suppose.
suppose.
Act of God.
And as punishment from the principal, Thomas is ordered to assist her with the rebuilding of all the prom props.
But he didn't set the fire.
No.
He's just a bad boy.
Yeah, but he knows how to do, like, he's the motorcycle car guy, so he knows how to get the prom fountain working and the mechanics and all that stuff. And so they're forced to basically spend time with each other, and
what do you think
the
will
drama.
Happen?
Oh God.
Yes, they have
the drama comes from
unprotected
the fact
sex.
that her father thinks that she shouldn't be associating with lowlifes, and then there's that initial confrontation about, like, your father thinks I'm a lowlife, and I'm really insulted now because you know I'm a good guy, but now I can't go to prom with you because your father insulted me.
What's going to happen next?
Harmless film, amusingly entertaining. It's you have to have a high tolerance for something like this, but this is really something that my niece would love.
Right.
Also, I have to admit that I have interviewed Joe Nussbaum a couple of times, and interviewed him before he even had a Hollywood career. He, the director, Joe Nussbaum, made a film that a lot of Star Wars fans know about. It's
Don't
called
point at me when you say that.
George Lucas in Love.
Okay.
And he has parlayed that success. I guess you could call George Lucas in Love a success. It, as far as a short film goes, it got admitted to the Toronto Film Fest, and it got him some access that he needed to advance his career. He has since gone on to make a couple of films for Disney, and I think he also made a film called The Sleepover, which was another teenage type thing. So this is I didn't think his career was going to go in that direction, but this is how he's making his money with the Disney flicks. Anyway, Prom. It's new on DVD.
Cool.
New on Blu-ray. John, what you got?
I have Three Women by Robert Altman.
Oh man, I want to see that.
I watched it this morning. Not the kind of thing you really want to start your day with. But
I love Shelley Duvall.
Man, and Sissy Spacek. Here's the thing. It's I'm not saying it's a great movie. It's a hell of a lot of fun to watch because it's so interesting, and it's Altman. Like, it's more interesting that he went into the studio with no script. It was at the point of his career where he could just show up and say, he actually had like a fever dream, and this is the idea he came up with. And went in and they gave him the money, and it's very improvised. You can tell it's very improvised. It's kind of got that Nashville feel where you're not really sure where the camera's going and stuff. But
was this Shelley Duvall's first film?
I'm not sure. But it's to Sissy Spacek plays this character named Pinky Rose. She's kind of a drifter. Shows up in this California town, gets a job working as a physical therapist. Shelley Duvall is her co-worker. They end up becoming roommates, and through a series of strange events, they start. Pinky Rose starts taking over Shelley Duvall's character's personality. It's fascinating. It's great to watch, but as it's Sissy Spacek's performance because she's one character, and then something happens in the movie, and then she's a completely different person.
What year did this come out? Is this 73, 72?
This came out in 77.
Oh.
So, no, considering it's the
77.
Criterion, there's not a heck of a lot of extras.
And then he did The Wedding, I think, after that, right? Was that, or he did a couple films on
I'm
there?
not sure.
77. Wow.
I'm not sure, but really fascinating stuff. But I have no idea what the ending means. None whatsoever. And you know what? I listened to the commentary, and it doesn't matter.
I was going to ask if there was a commentary on this, and I'm wondering if perhaps. This is. I thought it might be an upgrade. Taking the Criterion DVD taking
Yeah.
all the content, putting it out on.
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
And that's the only time I wanted to listen to the commentary because I couldn't understand what the hell had just happened.
It helps. It's
And-
like I would say. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
good to have him say, it doesn't matter. The ending's really left open like that.
Yeah, and commentary, or even you just got me thinking about the fact that I loaned the film Kess to some friends.
Mm-hmm.
I loaned it to. I loaned the film Kess to Sarah's parents, and they watched it, and the dialogue was so thick. The
Right.
English dialogue takes place in the northern England. That it was almost indecipherable to us who's we are accustomed to hearing English. It was like listening to a foreign language. They had to listen to the commentary. They had to listen to the. I said you can understand this film better if you just watch it with the subtitle
Yeah,
track.
definitely. I would recommend.
So you got so you were able to find the understanding you were looking
Well,
for.
when I after the movie ended, I went to see if there were any extras, and there aren't. There's like a trailer and anything like that. And then I went back to watch the ending again, and I hit a button, and it came up saying, "Oh, here's the final scene, and here's the commentary." And so I just listened to the commentary Altman was doing on the last part, which was pretty cool. So I would recommend it. Yeah, it's,
John, we'll get you listening to more commentaries.
I doubt it.
There's no commentary on X-Men, but that doesn't make it a bad. There's no commentary on X-Men, but that doesn't make it a bad disc.
No,
It's new
no.
on Blu-ray. Loved it. Loved watching it again. It's got the reason. I mean, I don't know. I'd get it anyway, because it's really visually entertaining. But the X-Men disc has a multi-part documentary called Children of the Atom, and it really does go in depth on the making of the film. So I ended up watching all, I don't know how many, 3-4 parts of the documentary, and then they have this other like Blu-ray special thing called exclusive thing called Mutant Tracker, where you click on it and it gives you like this whole like animated cloudy universe of all the past and present X-Men mutants. And then you click on them, and then by clicking on it, you can save this mutant's profile to some other file thing on there, and you can access it quickly. So it has these like little information video profiles on each of the X-Men mutants, not just through X-Men First Class,
Right.
but with the other films. And it actually gives a lot of background on how Bryan Singer was involved with the film. And he had another not personal commitment, although I'm sure he has personal commitments. He had a business commitment to do another film, and he couldn't come back for X-Men First Class. And they talk about how it all quickly came together with Matthew Vaughn, the director, and how he originally wanted to do it. I think he wanted to do X3 before Brett Ratner took over, and he had to abandon the project.
Yeah,
and,
that train wreck.
But X-Men First Class is definitely not a train wreck. Lots of resentment from me to Matthew Vaughn, asshole, for making such a good movie.
We were also on the subject of anime a little while ago on G4, the G4 network. They're showing a Wolverine anime.
Oh, yeah.
It's been on for the last couple months. It's really good. So, anyway, my next recommendation is True Legends. See, I'm back to my kung fu movies.
Yeah.
Directed by, Yan Wu Ping.
Oh, the fight coordinator for the Matrix films.
Right, and Kill Bill, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Hero.
Ping says action.
I should stop. It's a story of this. There's a general. He rescues a prince from some bad guys. Great opening action scene. But he's tired of fighting. He says, I'm going to leave it to my stepbrother. He's a good guy. I'm just going to retire now. His stepbrother turns out not to be a nice guy. He becomes the governor of the land where they are. He spends his spare time, I love this, learning the 5 Venom Fist style of fighting. So he hits you and holds on, and poison rushes out of his hands and kills you.
Nice.
Meanwhile, so then he goes back to get revenge for the man who killed his father, who happened to be the general's father. It's battle back and forth. the general develops his own style of fighting because he becomes an alcoholic, and this is where the drunken fist style of fighting comes up. Anyway, it's a very complicated story, and I'm not really making it sound any less complicated.
Yeah, John, you're not selling me on it.
Really? Then you should just know it kicks ass. It's just great
Oh,
fight
I
scenes.
saw the cover. Okay, that sold me.
Well, yeah, the guy. This is the guy who has the 5 venom fist, and he's such a badass. He has a suit of armor built and has it sewn onto his skin, so he's never without his armor.
Ouch.
David Carradine has a very lame appearance in it. I think, and it looks like it's right before he died. But anyway, good action. Ping says action.
John, man, I've got another title from the MGM on-demand titles. You know the one; these are the ones that MGM puts out from every now and then, and you can only. I don't think you can buy them in stores. You can only order them online, and then they make the DVD and they send it to you. So we had a bunch of titles to choose from, and one of the ones that looked very interesting to me, I was curious about it, was The Revolutionary from '71, I think, starring Jon Voight and believe it or not, Robert Duvall. He plays a socialist working in sort of non-violently. You know, he just has very, very strong beliefs, and but he doesn't wish anyone ill will, which I think is one of the few likable things about his character. He's a strange fellow.
Yeah.
He's a strange fellow. Very, you know, I kind of got to thinking back about remember Jack Nicholson's Drive. He said,
Right.
And also maybe this kind of comes from the same era as Zabriskie Point, the Antonioni film, where it takes place on campuses and student meetings, and there's a lot of anger going on there, and the students aren't really likable. I mean, they sort of have this like utopian ideals, you know, as to what they want to, you know, do and accomplish, you know, to challenge society, the man. So there's scenes in the film that are basically them sitting around rooms and talking and discussing how they're going to, you know, further their ideas.
Right.
One of the guys who leads these conversations, I was surprised to find, was a very young Jeffrey Wright. Or what was the guy? The guy who played Ferris Bueller's teacher. You know, what's his name? The king from Amadeus.
I know.
I can't think of his name.
Jones.
Jeffrey Jones.
Yeah.
That was kind of a surprise. Also, Robert Duvall pops up in the film. Sarah, actually, my girlfriend Sarah, watched it twice. She's ambivalent about it. Mm-hmm. She watched it much more intensely than I did, and it's kind of as if it goes nowhere.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting film.
Right. I think it would have been a lot more meaningful if we'd seen it when it came out, because that was, you know,
it is definitely a
spoke to
product
that
of its time.
Jon Voight gives a good performance, though. Seymour Cassel.
Oh, that's right.
As one of the revolutionaries.
Mm-hmm.
It has a frustrating ending. You know, that was just like but it has an ending of that time period.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun to watch. It was interesting.
It's a blast from the past from that catalog.
It definitely is.
John, what else you got?
Leading Ladies. It's directed by the team of Erica Randall Beam and Daniel Beam. I don't know if they're brother and sister, married.
An alternative to Glee and High School Musical?
Yeah, you know, they're trying to sell it too hard here. It's about sisters. One of them is a ballroom dancer or wants to be a ballroom dancer. The other one is dresses like a mechanic, and no one knows she's gay.
Well, I don't know. Looking at the cover.
They have a overbearing stepmother, stage mom, and of course the good sister gets pregnant, can't dance. The car mechanic daughter steps in and says, "I'll dance but only if you let me pick my partner." And she chooses another girl. Shock and awe, lesbian ballroom dancing. It's a sweet little film. The thing I loved about it is there's a scene in here for the first time when the two lead actresses, they're both new, Shannon Lee Smith and Laurel Vale, are very good in the lead performances. But it's the scene where the auto mechanic girl first dances with the girl she falls in love with. And it's one of those goofy cinema moments where you can actually see two people fall in love while they dance. It just works really
Dancing
well.
will do that to you.
It not when you dance with me. Love is not what you think. And there's a great dance sequence in a grocery store.
I was just-
Full-blown dance sequence. Yeah, it's really...
Scenes in grocery stores I find fascinating because I end up finding myself just looking at all the stuff
look,
on the
yellow
shelf.
wafers.
And there's a great scene in the grocery store in the movie Drive
Mm-hmm.
where you think, oh, geez, how did they get the rights clearances for all
Yeah.
this Kellogg's stuff and
Yeah.
all these things, you know? Man. Hey, another film I want to recommend, Cul-de-sac, Roman Polanski.
Is it any good?
Just
I was
released from,
tempted to
the credits-
watch it.
It is. It's a little hard to digest. It kind of plays into that outsider not being accepted sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the casting is what really makes this. Lionel Standard, if people aren't familiar with him, I assume many people are, but was a big, gruff guy. I particularly liked his appearance in 1941, Spielberg. A lot of people dissed that movie. He played one of the guys that had employed Eddie Deason and to keep a lookout in the Ferris wheel.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
At the end of the pier. Anyway, here he plays an American gangster who finds his way to this island off the coast of England that is only populated by Donald Pleasance. And, oh, God, I forget his girlfriend actress's name, and I'm not going to go through trying to remember that right now. But he basically just takes them hostage, uproots their lives. And you know, Donald Pleasance and his girlfriend are just kind of out there being kooks themselves. But, you know, it's an intermeshing of cultures, not probably the kindest version of an American but it's Polanski's, I think, second film. I think he did Knife in the Water
Right.
prior
right.
to this. Francois, here's her name, Francois Dorlec, and there I go again. I can't pronounce the
Teresa.
yeah. But it really is a masterful production, and it's filmed all in black and white. And here's a film that, like, Polanski really establish his ability to create tension in a small space. And I think it was the movie Dead Calm that was based on
Really?
this,
Okay.
or that was sort of a
Inspiration.
inspired
Yeah.
by the close confines of this drama. Oh, hey, and talking about Polanski, I think he's going to try and get back to the Zurich Film Festival. He's got a new movie, Carnage,
Right.
based on
God of
the
Carnage.
play God of Carnage. Yeah, that's going to open the Zurich Film Festival. And if you recall, 2 years ago, he was arrested in Switzerland or outside of Switzerland. Anyway, I think it was Switzerland. Gestaad, the United States, wanted to extradite him, but ultimately they wouldn't do it. But I think he's going to try it again.
Did you see that documentary about him a couple years ago?
Um,
It was interesting.
no, I know which one you're talking about. I have not
Yeah,
seen it.
it was
And
good.
even though we don't know the title,
You know, I'm tired of looking this stuff
title
up.
titles.
All right, my last pick. Robert Plant's Blue Note. It's a documentary about Robert Plant, singer for Led Zeppelin. And the thing that I like about it is it's more than 2.5 hours long, and it barely talks about Led Zeppelin. It talks about Plant's career before he was in Zeppelin and then after he was in Zeppelin. And his quest for world music after Zeppelin is pretty
Is it a
fascinating.
concert piece or is it a
No,
documentary about
it's
him?
got a lot of concert footage, though. Surprising. A lot of these, whenever you pick up a DVD that says this is not authorized by Robert Plant, his record company, or management, you always wonder, is it going to be a bunch of talking heads? You know, like, oh, I knew Robert Plant when I interviewed him 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Those things are usually crappy. This has a lot of footage, a lot of interviews, a lot of Plant in it, and the music's good. It's just I never really thought that much about the guy. His period right after Zeppelin in the 80s when he was doing his Now and Zen stuff, and you see Robert Plant in like 80s clothes, and you know, it's pretty fascinating.
that wasn't the most becoming
No, but
phase of the.
But it follows him right up to the stuff he did with Alison Krauss a few years ago, and the stuff he did last year. So it's really a fascinating look at a guy I really didn't pay that much attention to beyond Zeppelin. So it's a good, it's an eye opener.
Man, I'm intrigued.
It's really
Neat.
well done too.
I just quickly wanted to recommend one last one.
Yeah.
The Others has just been re-released by Lionsgate.
Movie
And it's
scared the
basically,
shit out of me.
yeah, the dead people in the book there was
dead people.
the photos of the dead people. Just creepy.
And it was
creepy.
this one, and it's Nicole Kidman before she turned completely plastic.
Yeah, I think this is the one film that I like her the most in.
Yeah.
And then I kind of I appreciate Alejandro Amenabar. I liked his ability to create a mood on set. He's a director who believes in the power of music, so he plays it over scenes in which the actors are trying to get into a mood, and then they just redo the audio later. But it just kind of creates this mood. And well, The Others is definitely a moody film. It's probably one of the better horror films that have come out in the last 10 years. It's up there, and it's on Blu-ray right now. They basically just re-upped the DVD with all the DVD content, and I highly recommend it. I wish that Amenabar had made more films in America so we could appreciate his stuff. I'm really not familiar with what he's done after this. And as far as Nicole Kidman, what she's criticized for quite often is being cold and
Right.
distant, and that works in this film. This is her being cast well.
Right, but it's when she was in that Adam Sandler thing recently, and a lot of her other movies, her face doesn't move anymore, so it's just hard to get that feeling from her. So I appreciate the.
Her face can't get any tighter. There's just no
It
room
can't.
left.
Anyway, good stuff and a good performance. And like I said, I remember it scaring the shit out of me when it was in theaters.
Yeah, it's the Book of the Dead, and by that I mean there was a time when photography was in its infancy, and people really just didn't have photos taken of them. It was a very rare thing. So they either before or just after they've died, their loved ones would take a photo of them to remember them by. And that scene where Nicole Kidman's character stumbles upon the book of the people that look like they're sleeping on the couch. Freaky. Fucking freaky. That shit creeps me out.
Cool.
That's what The Others did. Are we good?
We're great.
Awesome. Hey, if you have any comments about the show, we'd love to hear from you. We want to know if we're doing a good job. From time to time we hear from people, but let us know. Let us know if you enjoy what we're doing, and that would be a good thing.
Yes.
And we're at contact@post-movie.net. And you can check us out on iTunes. You can subscribe there and leave a review. That'd be awesome. Or like us on Facebook, because we put stuff there.
No other reason to do it.
All right. So, hey, until next week, I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
So long, everyone.